Yes, thank you for the invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's a pleasure to be here with you today at the Core Marine Conference 2024. I'm delighted to stand here in front of you representing the Hamburg Port Authority and share with you how the Port of Hamburg is preparing for the future. Our presence here is not merely coincidental. We stand at a critical juncture in maritime industry, facing huge challenges and demand our collective attention and action. The reason for our gathering extend far beyond routine discussions. We are here to force partnership, share insights, and chart a course towards a sustainable future for our ports and the global maritime sector. Let me begin by introducing the Port of Hamburg, highlighting its distinctive features and strategic focus that set us apart in the global port community, while also facing many shared similarities, both underscoring the importance of collaboration. The Port of Hamburg stands as Germany's most crucial gateway to the international maritime trade routes. Serving as a hub, it reliably connects the hinterland with the global market. This lays the groundwork for stable and intact supply chains. In this role, the Port of Hamburg is a key guarantor of resilience and prosperity, even in turbulent times. Hamburg handles about 120 million tons of cargo each year, and it's a major port for all kinds of goods. It plays a crucial role in Germany's shift toward green energy by moving important materials to the country's inland areas. Hamburg's significant advantage lies in its eco-friendly integration of sea and rail transport. With over 50% of its inbound and outbound traffic handled by rail, Hamburg is by far Europe's largest rail port. This strategic advantage of Hamburg is being actively expanded. The proportion of rail and inland waterway transport and hinterland traffic will be further increased. In addition, Hamburg stands as the largest cruise port in Germany, surpassing other notable German ports. The city's maritime infrastructure and strategic location contribute to its prominence. Last year, Hamburg recorded more than 1.2 million passengers, a record number that illustrates a positive development after the COVID pandemic. The Port of Hamburg is not only responsible for logistics, but also contributes in many ways to the economic development in the metropolitan region and beyond. As the economic and industrial heart of northern Germany, it generates added value and employment in various sectors of the economy. Supply and demand meet directly in northern Germany's largest industrial area. Across Germany, around 607,000 employees have a connection to the Port of Hamburg, for example, through the export of goods via the port. More than 110,000 of them are directly dependent on the port and could not continue to exist without the port. These port-related employees generate added value of approximately 58.8 billion euros across Germany and tax revenues of around 1.5 billion euros in the Hamburg metropolitan area. In addition, customs in Hamburg generates up to 30 billion euros. Thanks to our excellent inland transportation network, we are the market leader in container hinterland traffic in many Central European markets. In comparison with our main competitors in Rotterdam, Antwerp, and Bremen, our market share in Germany is around 45%, with even larger share of, for example, Bavaria with 63%. The Port of Hamburg is also especially strong in the Czech Republic with a market share of 55% of goods. The main reason for the strong position of Hamburg lies in its hinterland location. This strategic advantage not only enables container ships to transport goods far inland, but also ensures short and efficient routes to the respective customer by rail. As I already highlighted, Hamburg is the largest rail port in Europe and probably the world. Over 60,000 trains transport more than 45 million tons of goods every year. That means 210 trains and 5,500 wagons running between the port and the hinterland every day. To give you an idea of the scale we are talking about, the Port of Hamburg is a source and destination for 32% of all containers transported in Germany on rail. That is almost as many containers as the ports of Bremen, Rotterdam, Antwerp transport by rail combined, which once make again the Port of Hamburg as a pioneer. This locational advantage benefits not only the end customers, but also the environment. The Port of Hamburg takes this issue of climate friendliness very seriously, which is why I have steadily increased the proportion of rail transport by expanding the port railroad in recent years. Our goal to the future is to continue to rely on rail as a mode of transport. Transporting goods by rail is the most climate-friendly option currently available to us. With only 16 grams, rail emits 8 times less CO2 per ton kilometer than road transport and just over half as much as inland transport by waterway. Following this overview of the key facts and characteristics of the Port of Hamburg, I would now like to take a closer look at our path to a sustainable port. Recently, new strategic considerations for ports have been formulated at both European and national levels. They emphasize the crucial role that ports play in green transformation. The Hamburg Port Master Plan 2040, released last year, has already outlined the strategic direction. Hamburg aims not only to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, but also to prioritize its contribution to a sustainable economy as a primary objective of its port strategy. The Hamburg Port Authority sees this orientation as an opportunity to initiate new developments within the port and explore new business opportunities. Key initiatives include, first, the formation of a sustainable energy hub, and secondly, turning shipping and the whole supply chain greener. The Port of Hamburg has traditionally been an important hub for fuel and energy supply in Germany. Now, during one of the largest area transformation in its history, the port is embarking on a journey to become a hub for alternative energy sources. Sustainable energy will be the most important growth sector for the Port of Hamburg. The goal is clear. Hamburg aims to be a cornerstone for sustainable energy supply in a fossil-free future. This is further supported by the fact that this commitment extends not only to our dedication to sustainable energy, but also to securing ourselves against energy crisis. The federal government has conducted a strategic analysis on the potential growth of hydrogen in Europe and Germany. According to estimates, by 2030, there is a projected demand of 130 terawatt-hours per year for green hydrogen in Germany. And to give you a short benchmark, 1 terawatt-hour means around 30,000 tons of hydrogen or 190,000 tons of ammonia, so we need a lot. Given the limitation of domestic production capacity due to the lack of sufficient sun and wind resources, a significant portion of this demand will need to be imported. In its import strategy, the German government assumes that 50 to up to 70% of its requirements will have to be imported from abroad. Considering the production and export location for green hydrogen, the Port of Hamburg is well positioned to become the import hub that Germany will require. In this context, we have made extensive preparations over the past few years. As you can see, we have established partnerships around the world to prepare for the supply of hydrogen derivatives. This is not just about supplying low-emission fuels, but also about exchanging technology to help us tackle climate change. The Memorandum of Understanding and Letters of Intent we have signed deal with the question of how the hydrogen economy can be initiated at the respective locations. Contacts are established between potential producers and handling companies in the Port of Hamburg. The first tankers with hydrogen derivatives are set to arrive in Hamburg in 2027. Another regular topic we address in this partnership is how the port involved can promote the use of climate-friendly marine fuels. I will come back to this so-called green ship corridor a little bit later in the presentation. In order to be able to both import and produce sustainable energy, the Hamburg Port Authority has brought together port companies into a dedicated network known as the Sustainable Energy Hub Hamburg. Projects along the hydrogen value chain have been outlined and are already underway, including, for example, the construction of one of Germany's largest imports terminal for green ammonia by a consortium consisting of the companies Mabanav and Air Products, an American company, from 2027. Ammonia will be imported here from Saudi Arabia, among other countries. I will show you a short video about this project in a minute. The relation of at least one cracker connected to the national hydrogen grid is also scheduled to start up in 2027. Identification of sites for handling and storing green methanol, aiming for operations to begin by 2026. And last but not least, preparations for handling CO2 in the port, aligning with the federal carbon management strategy. As Europe's most efficient railway port and a major inland waterway hub, Hamburg is ready to become a hub for CO2 logistics and carbon capture and storage as these initiatives ramp up. A key example for this major transformation is the conversion of a former coal power plant into a site for an electrolyzer. Initially, the electrolyzer will have a scalable capacity of 100 megawatt with the potential to expand to 800 megawatt. In addition, renewable energy sources, such as wind power from the North Sea, will provide the necessary electricity for green hydrogen production in the port. With the IMO goal to achieve climate neutrality in maritime shipping by 2050 in mind, one major focus of the Sustainable Energy Hub activities will be on the production, provision and storage of alternative fuels. Hamburg is proactively establishing the approval requirements as well as the essential infrastructure and supply chains for the refuel ships with alternative fuels like ammonia, hydrogen or methanol. Comprehensive bunker options for alternative fuels will be available before 2040, with all vessel types able to bunker any climate-neutral fuel in Hamburg. Already underway is the methanol and LNG bunkering at one of our cruise centers. Ship-to-ship bunkering of LNG already took place. At the same time, we are preparing the Waltershofer Hafen, where 2 of our 4 container terminals are located for the bunkering of methanol and LNG, so that the bunkering of container ships can take place early in 2025. To end with this section as announced, let me show you the following video regarding the mentioned project by Mabanav and Air Products. And now I hope it will work. It works. Okay. I go further on. Another important area of making shipping more sustainable and environmental friendly, in which Hamburg is playing a key role, is the transformation of the port itself, which starts with the expansion of shore power facilities. Already 2 out of 3 cruise terminals in Hamburg are equipped with shore power facilities. Moreover, the installation for container ships are operational at 2 of 4 terminals, with more to come up this year. This makes Hamburg the first major European port with this comprehensive shore power offering for both cruise and container ships. Hamburg is leading the way in shore power adoption, significantly improving air quality in the port and city, inspired by pioneers like the Port of Los Angeles, whose openness helped us advance faster and establish shore power in Germany. In the maritime sector, stationary ships have a substantial impact of the environment. Within the port of Hamburg, 80% of the CO2 emission caused by container and cruise ships are generated at berth. Particularly for cruise ship operators who are increasingly interested in environmentally sustainable solutions, Hamburg further enhanced its attractiveness. For the sustainable success of the shore power strategy, it is crucial to form partnerships with other ports. The aim should be a uniform commitment from shipping companies to reduce emissions at berths using shore power. We at the Port of Hamburg initiate onshore power operations ahead of regulatory action. Now, the European Union requires ships staying in the port for more than 2 hours to connect to onshore power supply, starting from January 2030. The context of this legislation is the European climate law, by which the institution has set itself the target of reducing its greenhouse gas emission by at least 55% by 2030, only 5 years ahead, so a really challenging goal. The projects you will see in the following video highlighting Hamburg's proactive approach to managing air quality and the ongoing efforts to modernize its ports facilities to reduce emissions. Film ab, mal gucken. Zack.
The European Pioneer, a milestone for container ships. Shore power using renewable energy. The Port of Hamburg was the first port in Europe to offer shoreside electricity for cruise ships and now also for container ships. That means container ships can now get their energy from renewable sources when docked instead of running the ship's engines. Uwe Radke is responsible for the HPA's electrical infrastructure. The shore power project for container ships is his pet project and a major technical challenge. With cruise ships, we have the cable management system on land. We have our R2-D2 transfer vehicle in Altena, and it transfers the cables to the ship and the crew connects them. Here it's the other way round. Here the cable management system is on board and the cables come down to us and we connect them. That's the difference. At the Hamburg Container Terminal, the Vasco da Gama from the CMA CGM Group was the first container ship to be supplied with shore power. This was preceded by numerous tests with different systems and ships. The result is a real milestone. There's a lot of talk about climate neutrality in the shipping industry, but you have to create the right conditions for that, and shoreside power technology is an important part of European ports' climate protection strategy. We're the first to really put it into practice because the technology has been trialled in Hamburg for several years now. It needs testing because it's not easy to connect such large container or cruise ships to the shore power supply. By 2025, all large cruise and container terminals in the Port of Hamburg will have a shoreside power supply, a further step towards reducing CO2 emissions. We started the shore power project for large ships in 2015. It began with cruise shipping, which went well, and now it's the turn of container shipping. They've also been waiting a long time for this. Demand is growing all the time. Hamburg has now completed the first facilities, and I think we were able to demonstrate this very effectively here today. And it's not just about putting a plug in. It's more complex than you might think. But the systems work and are very flexible for different ship sizes and lengths. Shipping companies, port and terminal operators are driving the decarbonisation of the port industry together. The Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Climate Protection is contributing 50% of the costs. It's a milestone for climate protection because we're not using the ship's fossil fuels but renewable electricity instead. We're one of the first in Europe to have done this together at federal and state level. So progress, innovation, climate protection here at the Eurogate site. That makes Hamburg a European pioneer in shoreside power supply, and Uwe Radke a proud team player, always with an eye for technical detail. So we've built an energy chain into a system here that enables us to move a socket 100 meters back and forth. That's something special. The energy chain is equipped in such a way that it's filled with cables from two sides and can move back and forth so that the trolley in the center moves. And that's what we have here with a length of 100 meters. And at the other berths, 300 or 150 meters are possible. And at the CTA, we can manage distances of up to 400 meters.
Port is what we do.
So, I think you can have an idea what's going on in Hamburg. In addition to onshore power and sustainable fuels, the Hamburg Port Authority promotes emission reduction in shipping through international partnership standards like the ESI, Environmental Ship Index. ESI, a tool developed by the IAPH, has become a global standard used by many ports, also in Busan, to reward ship owners and operators for environmentally friendly practice and encourage them to exceed emission standards. Since its introduction in 2011, the HPA has used the ESI as a discount component in port use. To ensure sustainable port chains, the HPA is establishing the already mentioned Green Shipping Corridor. We are currently already involved in several corridors with ports in Canada, Chile, and Shanghai. In recent months and weeks, we've been actively engaging with partners across the globe, recognizing that the path to a sustainable maritime future is one we must walk together. Our ambition is clear: to drive the decarbonization of the maritime industry to the greatest extent possible while fostering closer collaboration with our partners. The scope of our collaborative efforts continues to expand. Recently, Busan and Ulsan have joined our initiative, demonstrating a shared commitment to the decarbonization. Crucially, we've pledged to communicate openly about the challenges we encounter and to share best practice and solutions among our partners. This open dialogue is essential for overcoming the complex hurdles we face. Another important cornerstone of the transformation of the Port of Hamburg is the modernizing of our own fleet to make it more environmentally and climately friendly. The Hamburg fleet has about 45 ships. It will soon add to fully electric ships with a third of one planned for 2027. Right now, the fleet already includes 3 plug-in hybrid ships that can run emission-free for up to 120 minutes using electric motors. 4 more plug-in hybrid ships are planned by 2026, and 2 existing ships will be converted to hybrid in the coming year. Furthermore, all ships already use shore power at the berth. Sometimes this doesn't work. Why? Yes, okay. In addition to decarbonize the water-side transportation of the supply chain, the Port of Hamburg is also expanding eco-friendly inland transportation. Besides to the expansion of the rail infrastructure with the goal to increase the share of inland transportation by rail up to 60%, we are also working on hydrogen or battery-powered shunting locomotives. The Port of Hamburg acts as a test field for hydrogen-powered shunting locomotives with multiple ports, universities and railway companies involved. Moreover, battery or fuel cell powered trucks will be used in the future to achieve zero-emission road transport. An important key will be the electrification of road transport. The Hamburg Port Authority is developing a charging network for electrified heavy-duty vehicles with its partners. 16 charging points are already available today, with 60 additional needed until 2030. Based on our development plan, in 2040, all trucks' parking spaces will be fitted with charging solutions. As a supplement to the electrification of transportation, the HPA also coordinated the rollout of the alternative fuel supply for road and rail transport. In addition to these projects, in the following last video, you will see some examples of how we are optimizing the transportation network to be efficient, reliable, and resilient, supporting our goal of climate neutrality by 2040.
The Port of Hamburg is part of Hamburg like tartar sauce in our fish rolls. The gateway to the world, it has been developing over centuries and centuries. And even today, the Port of Hamburg is a place of innovation. We, the Hamburg Port Authority, are driving forward the digital transformation of the port with the goal of being CO2 neutral by 2040. True to the motto, we make the port of the future efficient and agile. We need smart digital solutions that simplify, accelerate, and make transport infrastructure and associated processes more effective. To this end, we are realizing and developing the port of the future bit by bit. A digital ecosystem is already emerging in which many technological innovations are intertwined. Alternative energy, intelligent infrastructure, intelligent traffic management, digital collaboration, port and logistics services. About 38,000 vehicles drive over the Kurbrand Bridge every day. This is an enormous test of endurance for this elegant old bridge. In the Smart Bridge project, we installed a total of 520 different sensors to determine the status of the bridge in real time according to standardized parameters. This project shows us how the infrastructure can be maintained more efficiently in the future. Our digital parking space management reduces traffic jams using optimized flow control and parking information. With our Green for Transport system, the intelligent traffic light control optimizes the traffic situation and prioritizes truck convoys. This reduces braking and therefore causes fewer emissions, both CO2 from the combustion engine and particles from tire wear. With the high-level traffic network control system Mozart, the traffic lights in the entire network are optimally switched so that traffic flows better. All systems come together in this digital interface, which serves as a bridge between classic IT architectures and future quantum computers. We are also planning to use remotely operated drones in the Port of Hamburg. Flying, swimming or underwater drones can make diverse tasks even more efficient and safer in the future. For example, as a service for disaster control, water surface control, and for the collection and evaluation of AI data in industrial applications. And it continues with intelligent machines. As part of the EU project SeaClear, an international team of researchers is developing a solution consisting of unmanned underwater, surface and flying vehicles. These intelligent autonomous robots network with one another and work together to search the ocean floor for litter. With these innovations, we want to drive the progress of our port forward and always keep moving. We want to be courageous, provide new impetus and look to the future with a keen eye. Port is what we do, innovative and climate friendly.
So that was the last video, and I hope it gave you a short impression about our activities. I come also to my end, and reflecting on this insight shared today, it is clear that the Port of Hamburg stands at the forefront of global maritime innovation and sustainability in a transformative era. As we conclude, let me underscore the key points that define our journey. Hamburg serves not only as Germany's primary gateway to global trade, but also as a crucial link in Europe's transport network, with a commitment to sustainable practices. Our integration of eco-friendly sea and rail transport has positioned Hamburg as Europe's largest rail port, with extensive connections supporting the continent economy vitally. With the Hamburg Port Master Plan 2040 guiding our path, we are determined in our goal to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, exemplified by initiatives such as our Sustainable Energy Hub for green hydrogen and ammonia. Hamburg leads by example in green shipping practice, modernizing our fleet and expanding shore power facilities to reduce emission and enhance environmental steward ships. Looking ahead, our focus remains on advocating for legislative frameworks that support sustainable port operations. As we move forward, the Hamburg Port Authority will continue to innovate, collaborate, and lead by example, ensuring that our port remain a beacon of sustainability and a vital economic engine for generations to come. Thank you for your attention.